Yes, I actually got it printed out here. $8.34. But the
You
next
can't
month,
even buy a cup of coffee with that in most places.
in England, but the next month I did nearly $13.
Awesome. And
Down
Grant,
rapidly. So I decided, despite the fact that I'd seen that somebody had 10,000 students at $300 a piece, I now know also that they were all free. But I let it go for about 18 months, and even in January of this year, and I've just moved the piece of paper, but yeah, January of this year, I made $703, and I was a very happy sausage with that. That was a good month. December last year, I made 209. So this year, $703 in January was something what I'd made in. Well, it was more than I made in the whole of the previous year. So that was a good start.
wow. So I'll have to make that my goal in January of 2015, which amazing that we're already there. It always scares me that when the new year comes up, a lot of us, we go through and we think about the goals that we're setting. Well, my birthday falls on the 4th of January, so not only am I dealing with the new year, I'm also reflecting like, oh my God, I'm turning another year older, and what did I accomplish last year? So I don't like having a birthday at the beginning of the new year. But anyway, Grant, do you remember what you did?
Yeah, I looked it up as well. It wasn't 34 cents, but it was $34. So I did pretty well, but apparently Alan beats me that way. So yeah, that was not the best first month, but from there actually it is pretty like linear exponential growth there. Went from 34 to like 300 something to 700 something. So it got up there pretty quickly. Because I was actually, I know a lot of people probably put their courses up and they don't really focus on it 100%. So I did. As soon as I put it up there, I was really hitting it hard. So even then, the first month still only $34. But I think that's one of the reasons why I was able to get it up a bit quicker than a lot of people. It's like very slow, and then all of a sudden it kind of takes off. So I think that's something that there's something to be said for that. Like there's always something you can do to make things go faster. If you have the capacity to focus on to really focusing on your Udemy courses. But actually, I have a question for Alan, if you don't mind me like having a cross question.
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely.
I'm just curious about like there's some point in like your revenue earnings where it goes like from reasonable to like all of a sudden really ridiculous. I'm curious if you have any idea what was that little point where like the graph shoots up. Like, is there a specific event, like a release of several courses? I'd love to know about that.
Okay. If I cover January, February, March of this year, show you what the figures were and what I did, that would probably help you. So we know that January was $703.75, and I was very happy about that. I started in January to start looking at this seriously. I'd been married a year for the first time in my life and thought, better do something serious. And I wanted to stay in Spain and stay in the sunshine. So I started looking quite intensely at what people who were successful on Udemy, what they were doing. I also started looking at it as more of a sale to make my courses more appealing to students. So, for example, my course on photography was called something like how to sell photographs to stock agencies. So I changed the headline of that to something that was approximately, these companies want your photographs, learn how from this course, something of that sort of thing. So my earnings went from 703 in January this year. In February, they went to 5,303. An extremely happy sausage, as you can imagine, because 5,303, even dollars, was a nice income for the month, bearing in mind I'd done basically only a few days' work. I then started to take it a little bit serious. I can see that earning coming in a month, $1,200 a week, $150 a day is quite nice for a passive income. What can I do to increase it again? And I looked around at what the courses were, what was selling, what wasn't. And I thought, well, I have a YouTube channel and I make good money on that. I make a couple of grand a month on YouTube, but I don't do any filming. Although I'm a professional cameraman, TV, all those sort of things, I don't do any filming. I use Create and I make a couple of grand a month. I actually run a television channel on YouTube. about North Korea, and lots of people think it's a real North Korean television channel. So I added a new course on how I make 2,000 a month from YouTube, did some good stuff on that, and my March earnings were 15,659. So I went from 700 in Jan, 5,300 in Feb, 15,000 in March.
I would have loved
the question briefly, or would you like me to?
I was just saying, I would have loved to have seen your face, like when you first checked that, and it went from like 70 or 700 and whatever dollars to like 5,000. Oh, whoa!
They made a mistake. They're putting money in my account. Wow.
What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I like about that is that we're showing these newer instructors out there who come on, to like the Udemy Studio group, and they want to know everything, that there is to begin with and all of that. And, to know that you might only start off at 35 cents and, it just takes, I think, a lot of persistence and things like this where, like for myself, learning from what you guys have done and applying myself and staying focused. I know that through Grant and through Rob, some cross-promotion stuff, even though Udemy frowns on that now, there are ways to go around that. We'll talk about in a little bit about Rob. I know that you sent out a message earlier that you made in a few days this month $1,000, and we'll talk about a little bit about how you did that. Let's go on, and we'll move to Matt and then to Rob real quick on what you made the first month, and then we'll move on to some more questions.
Yeah, so January 2014, I was lucky enough to be featured in the $10 deal, like I already mentioned, and I grossed over $1,400 in profit. And I think a lot of that had to do with the core subject that I was teaching about selling on eBay and drop shipping, so it doesn't require any money up front for inventory, and it's a very low cost upfront business. And I guess I got lucky, and there's a demand for it on Udemy because I kind of went through certain ways to validate my course using Amazon and to see the Amazon bestseller for ebooks. And I've learned that the top 20,000 best-selling Amazon books usually sell for about 5 copies a day. So I thought that was a good start. I used Google Keyword Planner to see how many people were searching selling on eBay video course and things like that. So I think the course subject, there are ways to validate that, to prove that it would be a good course to teach on Udemy. And I was lucky enough for Udemy to get behind that for me. So
yeah, and let's go ahead and we'll switch gears here just for a moment before we ask Rob about his first month, because one of the questions that I had for you, Matt, is that, and maybe it happens to come from the fact that the first month there that you had that promotion that they put you in. I've noticed that your courses, that you typically price them around $10, which makes them very affordable for the amount of information that you're delivering. But I'm wondering if you've experimented with going higher, let's say like maybe $17, because if you think about something like that, by going from 10 to 17, then you get that average price or whatever up there. So have you done anything like that? Do you see that like increasing your prices affects your enrollment on your courses?
Yeah, so I actually just increased my prices to $19, and I found that it actually converted 16% better than having the $10 sales. So not only did I make more sales pricing my course at $19, I also made more money per sale. So I think, and I know Alan Hill did his own tests for $10, $19, and $29, and I think you found the same results, that $19 was the best as well. So sorry.
Yeah, I'm just going to say my best-selling prices is when they do a $19 offer. $10 when they do an offer, I don't sell as many. $19, I sell a lot more, ignoring the difference in income purely in terms of the actual sales price, $19, is without a doubt the best price. And remember, my courses do sell for up to $4.99, and I get sales at $4.99, but I get sales, majority of the sales, if you think of a bell curve or whatever, come in at $19, without a doubt.
And I don't know if other people do this or not, but I also tested. I usually featured all my courses. I have 6 paid courses, and I would send out an email just saying, the title of the course, the subtitle, and to buy it for $19. And I actually found that if you promote one course at a time, you actually sell it a lot better if you just have the sales description and say just like enroll now and don't even mention the price. And I found that actually I make a lot more money just promoting one course at a time rather than all of my courses at a time.
Yeah, I think that if you do that, then you start to confuse people because there's too many options that they have. Instead, like maybe just give them, 1 or 2 courses that they have to pick from. Rob, go ahead and let us know like your first month, and then we'll talk about what you did the first part of this month to get that $1,000 in income, which I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I got it up here. So my first month was March 2013, and it was $272. And the next month I did quite well because the lady I mentioned earlier, Tara Roskell, she cross-promoted me, which we're not allowed to do anymore, but that was $900. And then the month after that, it was $300, back down to $300. Then it was $400, $700. And then sort of half the way through 2013, I was starting to make $1,000 a month. And it's quite funny, I wrote a Kindle book called How to, because I thought that was great. I mean, I've been blogging for years, and I was never making $1,000 a month passive income until then. And so I wrote this book called How to Sell Video Courses, How I Make $1,000 a Month. Well, of course, I had to rename the bloody book at the end of that year because I was making $1,000 a month. And now I'm making over $5,000 a month in the last 4 months, only in the last 4 months, through Udemy and Skillfeed. But I've given up renaming the books. It just takes so much time sorting it out.
So I got this email. So you talk about that you do blogging, and I follow your blog. I think I think everybody should follow his blog because he's got a lot of great inspirational stuff contained in his blog. And so a lot of his stuff I follow, and one of those that you wrote is that you made $1,000 within the first few days of this month, and it's very easy for somebody to do. Now, you do need to have more than one course typically to be able to do this, but will you explain the promotional message that you sent out and how you do that?
Yeah, in Udemy, you can send promotional messages to people that are on your paid courses, only on your paid courses. And typically you don't get huge numbers on your paid courses, but one of the things you can do is put a course out for free and get thousands of people on it, and there's ways that other people know better than me how to do that. But at some stage when you get, 5,000 to 10,000 people on the course, you can then make it a paid course. Maybe you'd want to put some extra videos in, put some extra value into it to make it a paid course, and of course make sure it's not all on YouTube and is free elsewhere, because that's not allowed either. But then you can promote to all of those thousands of people through the Udemy announcement system, and it's extremely powerful. You can send an announcement on Udemy, but it ends up being a email that hits people's inboxes, and you can have images in there, and you can have a very attractive offer. So here is this course. It's on at $99. I'm offering it to you for $19 for the next week only. And you can follow that up with another email just to say it's running out of time. And so many people will take you up on that offer, and you get 97% of what they pay. So if I think there's a benefit to getting numbers in your courses for free at first, and it's worked for me.